Boys, UFC 322, JDM versus Makhachev. We have I'm just going to go out and say it. We have the best pay-per-view, the best card this Saturday. And like I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, when we had those Garbaggio Fight Night cards, I'm just gaslighting myself until we have this card. And we are a few days away now. With that being said, it's time we ace a card. It's been a while since we did extremely well on a card. We're going to ace this one. I'm not going to lie. We've been on a little bit of a dry streak, especially with those Apex cards and just the rigged fights in general. You know, I'm just going to chalk up to all of my recent predictions being wrong as straight up those shits were rigged. But let's get into this. Early prelims, lightweight division. We got the boy Borshev back here taking on Matus Camilo. Now, Borshev he's a good striker with, a good professional kickboxing background. He has a really good jab, some good power, but we saw in some of his past fights, his takedown defense, Garbaggio, his age, and all of the damage he's taken in his career so far has started to catch up with him because he's not as durable or as dangerous as he used to be, even just like a few years ago, where Camilo is a well-rounded fighter, dangerous KO power and submission threats, but he is, very limited with his experience with high-level fighters, he has some holes in his grappling defense, but I don't think that's going to be that important in this fight. It's a short notice fight, and the style of Camilo is just better suited for this fight against Borshev. It's a good stylistic matchup for Camilo. And again, Borshev kind of washed, and unfortunately, round 2 submission. Let's get into middleweight though. This dude who is fighting every other week. Don't know how to say his first name, but we got Susurkaev taking on Eric Makhachev. Now, Susurkaev is a dangerous striker, good accuracy, good KO power, and most of his wins coming in that early second round. He's fairly well-rounded with some good grappling and submission threats, but his takedowns are pretty weak, as well as his striking defense can be a little bit worrying, where Eric is a good grappler. He has some striking. His game plan is always to close the distance, get you up against that cage, and get the fight to the ground, where he has some pretty sneaky transitions, passing through position to position, trying to find good control. I just think this is a terrible fight for Eric. I'm not gonna lie. And I just think Susurkaev is just better everywhere. And it seems like it's one of those fights where they're setting this up for Susurkaev to get a nasty highlight here, which I think is gonna happen. Round 1 KO. Let's keep moving down though to strawweight division. Angela Hill, Fatima Klein. Angela Hill, a vet at this point. She's staying consistently good everywhere with some pretty high fight IQ, good speed, good volume, but like a lot of these women's MMA fighters, she doesn't have any power. She has good footwork, cardio, she stays busy on the feet with her striking, and she can mix in takedowns if needed, but her takedown defense is good, but she does struggle against, high pressure fighters, where Fatima Klein is a heavy pressure grappler with a very dangerous ground game. She has a calm, loose striking style with a really good and sneaky right hand. She is very busy on the ground with good ground and pound work, dangerous submission game. She has good fight IQ, and on the ground, she won't go for a submission over position, which you love to see. You love to see some fighters actually have fight IQ but this just seems like, a classic women's MMA fight where Angela Hill randomly wins here. Klein should win this fight. She should win this. She's almost half the age of Angela Hill. Angela Hill is pushing 50, pushing 60, and yet she's still finding success. A classic women's MMA fight where somehow Angela Hill gets to win. I don't think that's going to happen. I can't justifiably pick Angela Hill, even though I low-key think she can get it done because women's MMA at the end of the day makes no sense. I'm still going Fatima Klein. 29-28 decision. Let's get into the featherweight division now. Pat Sabatini, Chepe Mariscal. Now, Pat is a really good grappler and wrestler with some good pressure, good cardio. Striking isn't the best, and that chin is extremely questionable. Where Chepe is, fairly well-rounded. He has some good BJJ, good kickboxing and wrestling. He sometimes doesn't have the best fight IQ when having these firefights, but he has crazy pressure, good cardio, and he uses that just to break his opponents. I think Chepe is better. The only thing Pat has that's dangerous in this fight against Chepe is his grappling and wrestling. But I think Chepe can, mix in some scrambles and is good. He's good enough to get out of those situations. I'm going Chepe Mariscal 29-28 decision. Let's go down middleweight division. Kyle Daukaus, the GOAT, GM3. Kyle Daukaus is a dangerous submission threat. He has good grappling. I used to think this dude had decent power, but he just went out there and knocked out Michel Pereira. So who knows what his power really is. Maybe he's a new mythical fighter, but he's, consistently struggling. But before he got cut from the UFC, he was consistently struggling against high-level fighters. It's not like he looked amazing outside the UFC, but again, he could be a mythical fighter now, having crazy KO power, putting out Michel Pereira, but GM3 is a UFC vet with some of the best grappling and is always a submission threat. However, his chin practically dust. He isn't good on the feet whatsoever. And again, like I've been saying, Daukaus could be a new mythical fighter. That plus GM3 being extremely washed is just a recipe for round 1 KO. Kyle Daukaus, round 1 KO. Hopefully GM3 hangs up the gloves there. I think GM3 should have retired his last fight. For some reason, Dana thought that was a stupid idea and flamed the reporter for even implying that GM3 should retire. But yeah, hopefully GM3 retires after this fight. And let's get into these prelims now. Bantamweight division. Malcolm Wellmaker, Cody Haddon. Malcolm Wellmaker is a powerful and accurate striker with some crazy timing. He is fairly well-rounded. He has good fight IQ. He has good cardio to go all 3 rounds with a pretty pressure-heavy style. He has good wrestling, good takedown defense, but doesn't have the most amount of experience against these top-tier competition, which, does cause most of his victories coming against fighters with, terrible records like Chris Moutinho. But Cody Haddon, on the other hand, is a good striker, good accuracy, power, good volume. His striking defense is also pretty good, but as well as he has some submission threats, his takedowns are pretty bad though, and he has a hard time getting fights to the ground, as well as he has, again, no real high-level experience. This is the best fighter each of these fighters have faced so far. So Wellmaker, this is the best fighter he's faced so far in Cody Haddon, and vice versa for Cody Haddon. I think Cody could show Wellmaker a lot of problems. I'm not gonna lie. Cody is a good striker. I don't think he's just, and he's not gonna go out here and just get Chris Moutinho, knocked out right away. He's not gonna do that. He's very good on the feet. His striking defense is good as well. I don't know if it's good enough to not get caught by something by Wellmaker, and then vice versa. Cody could catch Wellmaker with something. This is a very close fight, but I just think Wellmaker's accuracy and timing is just crazy. I think he's going to catch Cody Haddon. Wellmaker is really good at picking his shots and making them count. With that being said, I've seen some things from Wellmaker where, he doesn't really move his head that much, and Cody could 100% find that chin of Wellmaker. I think I'm just going to slightly lean towards Wellmaker, though. Round 2 KO. That's where I'm going. I could see a decision here. Both these dudes are very, very good, and this is the biggest test for both of them. I'm going round 2 KO, though. I could see a decision here as well. I could see a split decision. That's how close this shit is. But let's get down to the women's flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield, Tracy Cortez. Blanchfield is a BJJ fighter with some good grappling, good submission threats. She has good takedowns, decent fight IQ, and is always calm in that octagon. Her striking is okay with good volume and accuracy while maintaining a pretty good pace for 5 rounds if needed. But her striking defense isn't that great, and like most girls, she has 0 KO power. But she's also a decision merchant, and she can just struggle against good strikers, where Tracy Cortez is a strong wrestler with effective takedowns, good control, with some good clinch work, cage pressure. Her striking defense is good. She's also very calm in there, just like Erin Blanchfield, with a pretty good pace. Her striking volume is low, and her finish, and again, 0 KO power. And like in the Thug Rose fight, she can be outpointed by high output fighters. She doesn't have that many submission threats either, despite being, dominant in those positions. She's not really a submission threat. This is also a really close fight. I think it's closer than a lot of people are thinking, but Blanchfield has shown that she's just better than Tracy Cortez. I'm not gonna lie. The level of competition both these girls have fought, this is classic MMA math here, but Erin Blanchfield has fought the better competition and has won against better competition. I still think this is a close-ass fight. And again, I'm going decision. I think it's going to be a split decision. That's how close it's going to be. But I'm going to lean Erin Blanchfield. Let's keep moving down, though. Middleweight division. Roman Kopylov taking on the boy Gregory Rodrigues, taking on RoboCop. Now, Roman Kopylov is a very well-rounded fighter with good kickboxing. He is very technical. He has powerful kicks, clean boxing, and great timing and accuracy. His footwork and distance management is okay, but his grappling and takedown defense are okay as well. They're not that great. He can struggle against fighters who can push him back, like we saw against Paulo Costa, as well as good wrestlers with good submission threats. And his cardio starts to fade. You know, this dude is fading faster than Paulo Costa, and Paulo Costa doesn't even have that great of cardio. And then RoboCop is a well-rounded fighter with good striking accuracy, great power. He is a BJJ black belt with great takedown defense. His striking defense isn't perfect. You know, he can get caught like we saw against Jared Cannonier. And, you know, he does have some questionable mid-fight decisions. With that being said, Kopylov lost to Costa. And if Costa's taking you up on the feet, Rodrigues is sleeping you. Plus, he has that takedown advantage and he can mix that in. And I think, honestly, round one is going to be a finding each other's range. RoboCop mixes in some takedowns, keeps him on the ground for the rest of the round. Round two, he's going to fake a takedown, land something nasty. Round 2 KO for Gregory Rodrigues. Let's get into the main events of these prelims. Nickal taking on Rodolfo Vieira. Finally, this dude is no longer on these main card spots. Nickal, you know, we already know what it is. You know, a 3-time Division 1 national champion, you know, explosive takedowns, good transitions. He has good top control, good submissions, but pretty limited striking, you know. Where Rodolfo Vieira has some good BJJ skills. He has crazy explosive movements when going for his takedowns. He has a good jab. His wrestling isn't the best. His striking is okay. And his game plan is just to get the fight to the ground. Nickal, because he got fraud checked against, you know, RD Fraud, I think he's going to be smarter. I think he learned a lot from that loss. I'm not going to lie. I think that was a good loss for Nickal to have. He's going to be smarter in there. He's going to be more determined to get a win here, and I don't think he's gonna be stupid like we saw in that RDR fight, going for random submissions that aren't even in, like that Gilly. Rodolfo isn't that good, you know, anywhere, and he wants to get the fight to the ground, where I think Bo is just better. I could see this going to a decision. Nickal trying to get a comfortable decision, you know, not trying to do anything dangerous, not trying to do anything stupid, gain a decision out here, having a pretty boring decision just to get a win back after that loss. But at the same time, I could see a rear naked choke here. Round 2, rear naked choke. That's what I'm going. Let's get into this main card now. Banger after banger after banger. Lightweight division. Beneil Dariush, BSD. Now, Beneil is a well-rounded fighter with good grappling, good ground control, good power, takedown defense, and he has good pressure and a pace, and he can use that to break opponents, but he can struggle with fighters with good KO powers and fighters with good grappling, where BSD is a pretty well-rounded fighter who has fallen off, came back up. This dude has been going up and down, up and down. People thought he was a possible champion and then not top 15 level, and then again he's a future champion. Who knows if he's going to fall off again. He has good striking, good accuracy, good volume, BJJ. His striking defense though is pretty bad, and his chin is a little bit worrying with his aggressive style. I don't know where Beneil can win here. I'm not gonna lie. It's not necessarily the style. It's more that Beneil Dariush is getting up there in age. I wasn't super impressed with the Moicano fight, which is stupid to say because we saw what Moicano did to BSD. But again, this is MMA math is MMA math. It doesn't fully work, but when it does, it does. And I just think, other than just out scrambling BSD and finding a KO here late in the fight, I don't know where Beneil wins here. But BSD is more dangerous. I think he has more ways to win here, and I think he catches Beneil and finishes him on the ground with some ground and pound. I'm going round 2 KO for BSD. I'm just not that impressed with Beneil Dariush as of lately. Let's get into welterweight though. Leon Edwards, Carlos Prates. Leon Edwards, a well-rounded fighter, good striking, good counter-striking, decent wrestling and takedowns. He has pretty good cardio and good fight IQ and has been able to take down people like Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington. I don't know if it's that big of a flex to take down Nate Diaz. And, usually, unless it's too early in the fight or you're fighting someone like a Sean Brady, he has decent footwork. But this dude, once something's not going his way, just gives up. Where Carlos Prates is a very dangerous, precise striker with big power, great range control, and is very light on his feet with diverse striking, decent takedown defense, but hasn't fought any high-level grapplers. This is definitely going to be the biggest test he has for his takedown defense. His cardio is, okay. We saw him go 5 rounds with Ian Gary. I'm not ready to say he has good cardio yet because this dude's smoking it up every day. I really think Leon could win here. That's the thing. Being able to take down people like an Usman and a Covington, I think is going to play a huge role in this fight. I can't pick between this one. This is one of the hardest ones for me to pick this entire card. I'm not going to lie. Because I could 100% see Leon Edwards taking down Carlos Prates and keeping him there for 3 rounds and winning a pretty boring decision. I could also see Carlos Prates catching Leon Edwards before he gets that takedown, stuffing some takedowns. Carlos is just a more dangerous fighter, and I think he's going to find a shot to KO, not just KO, flatline Leon Edwards. If Nate Diaz is rocking you, Prates is flatlining you. Again, I think the takedowns are going to be a big factor in this fight. That's why I'm going to go early round 3 flatline KO. Let's get into this. Is this a featured fight? Yes, featured fight. Also in that welterweight division. Sean Brady, Michael Morales. A very important fight for the division because arguably this could be one of the next fights for the title. The title picture is a little bit confusing right now because we have people like Ian Gary versus I forgot his name, but regardless, this is an important fight. Sean Brady is a dangerous fighter on the ground. He doesn't have the best cardio and isn't, anything special on the feet. He has been improving, but he's still nothing that impressive. His grappling is definitely his strong suit. He's very impressive, and he's pretty strong in there with some good BJJ and some dangerous submission threats, where Michael Morales is currently undefeated, 79-inch reach, decent power, decent takedown defense, and only 25 years old. He's going to get better and better every time we see him in that octagon. His submission game is pretty limited, as well as he can have a tendency of getting hit too much on the feet because of that upright stance that he has. I honestly think Brady will be on Morales as soon as this fight starts. He will break Michael Morales as the fight goes on. Maybe Brady's first few takedowns aren't successful, but he will rob Michael Morales out there. I honestly don't see any other way. I think he's gonna rob Michael Morales. With that being said, I do think he finds a submission. I could see a decision here, Sean Brady winning every single round, just robbing Michael Morales. But I think Morales is gonna make a mistake trying to get back up to his feet. Round 2. I'm going round 2, probably rear naked choke, to be honest. I just see that one him trying to get back to his feet, making a simple mistake. And if you make a mistake when Sean Brady has you on the ground, he's catching that neck. Let's get into the title fights, though. Co-main event, women's flyweight division. Valentina Shevchenko, Zhang Weili. Now, Valentina is a well-rounded fighter with great counter-striking and good accuracy, dynamic strikes like spinning kicks, back fists. She has a nasty clinch game with good knees, elbows. She's a black belt in judo and has good takedowns and some decent submission threats. Her ground game is pretty basic though and can struggle against elite grapplers and fighters with a pretty strong forward pressure style. Or Weili, a very well-rounded fighter with some great power. She's very strong. Her takedown defense is probably the worst part of her game, but she's very strong. Even at flyweight, I think she's going to be very strong out there. Valentina is just not the same fighter as she used to be. She's definitely getting worse and worse after every single fight, where Weili just seems to be improving at a crazy rate. And I think not only is Weili going to be the much faster fighter out there, I think she's going to ragdoll Shevchenko out there in the clinch on the ground. I think Weili is going to be stronger than Valentina Shevchenko moving up in weight class. Valentina is going to look like the girl who's moving up in weight, not Weili. I think Weili is going to be so much, not just faster, but again, stronger than Weili, than Valentina in there. And I don't understand. I looked at the betting odds real quick. I have no idea how Weili is 2 times your money back. Makes no sense to me. I think she's going to win this pretty handedly. Maybe Shevchenko wins 1 round, but I think Weili's got this. I think she's winning 4 out of the 5 rounds. Decision win. Let's get into this main event though. Welterweight division. Della Maddalena taking on Islam Makhachev, moving up from 155 to 170. JDM is a high volume striker, a good jab, good body shots, solid power. He has good stance switches, accurate combinations. His takedown defense is good, but when he gets taken down, he can struggle to get back up, and he can be over reliant on his boxing, and he can struggle against someone who can mix up things very well as he has questionable fight IQ and can just go for stupid things. It seems like he's fixed that. He's not going for stupid submissions here, or just not doing stupid stuff in general, but that doesn't mean that fight IQ isn't dumb sometimes. Where Makhachev is currently, arguably still pound for pound number 1. He's up there with some of the best wrestling skills and has made crazy improvements with his striking, making him just dangerous everywhere. He is an aggressive grappler, always looking to punish or finish the fight on the ground. And I'm not going to lie, I've been flip-flopping like a damn fish out of water all week, all 2 weeks long, going up until this fight. Because I don't know who's going to win this fight. I do think JDM, the talk about JDM will be too big for Makhachev isn't going to be true. I think the talk about, Volk almost beat Makhachev. Just imagine what a bigger fighter like JDM, who has Volk in the training camp, who has Craig Jones in the training camp. Just imagine what he's going to do. I don't think that's going to be a big factor because Volkanovski is just a generational fighter. You can't compare the two. However, again, I've been flip-flopping this all over, but I've been flip-flopping all week, all 2 weeks, but the one thing I've been seeing in my head over and over and over again is JDM landing a nasty knee that hurts Islam Makhachev bad. He lands a knee that connects straight to the head, and Islam's rocked. Islam's put out cold. I've been seeing that. And I don't know. I think Islam will get the fight to the ground after striking with JDM for a bit and dominate the rest of the round that way, round 1, maybe even to round 2. I could also see JDM catching him with that knee. I could see JDM putting away Islam Makhachev, but I think I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev round 3 submission, getting like a Darce choke. But again, I could see JDM getting it done too. I'm going Islam Makhachev. I'm going double. I'm going in that co-main and main event and new double champ status for both those fighters. But you guys have to let me know in the comments below. How excited are we for this fight card? What do you guys think of these predictions? Do you agree with any of them? And yeah, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in my next video.